All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome so much, or thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. We're going to be talking about the importance of self-care, and we're super excited to introduce you to our guest or our speaker for today, Melinda Benjamea. She's our licensed clinical practitioner, LPC. She's our LPC, and she's here today just to talk about self-care. And if you guys have any questions or anything throughout the presentation, just let us know. Feel free to leave a comment. And we're just super excited to see y'all. So welcome, Melinda.
Hi, thank you.
How are you doing today?
I am good. I am very good. Glad it's
All
Friday.
right. And so we're going to be talking about self-care today. So we'll just probably go ahead and hand you over the presentation. And we're really excited to listen to what you have to say.
Okay. I don't know how many people are joining us, but welcome. Like Darian said, I'm Melinda Benjamea. I'm the lead clinician at the Lighthouse of Houston, and I'm a licensed professional counselor. I work remotely for the Lighthouse. I live in North Central Texas, and self-care is very, very important. So I don't know how many people are on the screen, but if you have a minute, I'd like for you to put in the comments what your quick definition of self-care is. When somebody says, what is self-care to you? How would you answer? If you're there, make a comment, and then we'll talk from there. I'm going to give it just a second. Okay. A lot of people think that self-care is the ability to take care of ourselves, to do our, quote, activities of daily living, or dress ourselves, or feed ourselves, or whatever. But no, that's not what I mean when I talk about self-care. Um, let's see, I see one comment that says, we think of self-care means taking care of yourself and putting your emotional and health well-being first. Okay, that's very good. Self-care is actually any activity that we do deliberately in order to care for our mental, emotional, and physical health. So it's an intentional activity. And it's simple in theory, but it's sometimes something that we overlook because we all have busy lives and we just don't think about it. But good self-care is a key to improved mood and reduced anxiety. Did you know self-care can make you less anxious because you're caring for your inner self? So, another word for self-care that I sort of like better is self-maintenance. Because self-care sounds like it might be selfish. Self-care is not selfish. Self-care is taking care of ourselves, our emotional, our physical, and our mental health. So I like the term self-maintenance. So where do we start? Well, there's three basic rules. One, over time you'll find your own rhythm and routine. You'll be able to implement more and identify more particular forms of self-care that work for you. But it needs to be something that you actively plan rather than something that just happens. And it is an active choice, and you must treat it as such. Not, oh, let's go to the movies. Want to go with us? That's not self-care. That's going to the movies. But as an act of self-care, I'm going to go to see a certain movie because it makes me feel whole and healthy and happy. That's self-care. So you add certain activities to your calendar. You announce your plans to others. So you increase your commitment. And you actively look for opportunities to practice self-care. I'm going to give you a few questions and see how you take care of yourself. And if you want to, these are just some things that we can do for self-care. And if you want to kind of make note of how often you do these things, you might be surprised. So there's physical, there's psychological, there's emotional, and there's even spiritual self-care. Self-care is not selfish. So physical self-care, eat regularly. How about that? Eat healthy. Intentionally eating healthy. Exercise. Take care of your medical care. A lot of people put off going to the doctor. They don't care for themselves enough. It's important to care for yourself. Take care of your medical care. Take time off. Sometimes we need a day. Sometimes we need an hour. Whatever time you need, take time for yourself. Dance, swim, walk, fun physical activity. Here's a big one. Get enough sleep. Wear clothes you like. How about that? Well, who wears clothes they don't like, but wear clothes you like. Take vacations. This is a big one. Take time away from screens. We spend so much time on our devices, so it's important that we have time away from phones, tablets, computers, television. Just take time away from all the screens. Okay, I'm going to go back to my regular overview of self-care, then I'll talk about some psychological self-care. So, be aware of what you do, why you do it, how it feels, and what the outcomes are. If you choose an activity for self-care, like I'm going to walk around the block and I'm going to smell the flowers, I'm going to feel the breeze, I'm going to listen to the wind in the trees, evaluate how that's going, how it feels, why are you doing it? Because you need a break from work? Okay. Because you need to get outside? Because your kids are driving you crazy? Whatever. And then how did it feel? How was the outcome? So it can be different things to different people, but there are basic things that we can all follow. Number one, this is going to sound kind of antithetical, but create a no list. Things you don't like or no longer want to do. Maybe don't check emails at night. Don't attend gatherings that you don't like. Don't answer your phone during lunch or dinner. Those are acts of self-care, not doing things. We've talked about nutritious, healthy diets as being important, getting enough sleep. How many hours of sleep do you think adults need during a day? They need at least 7 to 8. And I can tell you, I don't always get that. But I try. Exercise. Exercise is just almost as good for our emotional health as it is for our physical health. Even getting outside, taking your shoes off, putting your feet in the grass, and connecting with the earth. That's really, 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 really good for self-care. Sometimes when I finish seeing people all day long, I go outside in my backyard, I take my shoes off, I sit in my chair, I put my head back, and I close my eyes, and I just sit there for a few minutes. And it's so glorious. The other things about exercise that you probably know is that it increases your serotonin levels, it leads to improved mood, it adds to your energy. It's also important that you choose an exercise that you like and that you are able physically to do. I will tell you a personal story. I have always ridden a bike since I was a child, but over the past several years, I have had several falls off of a bike, and that's one form of exercise that I've chosen not to do anymore because it's too dangerous for me for some reason. Following up with medical care. It's not unusual to put off medical visits. Nobody likes to go to the doctor. I don't. And I actually have a doctor's appointment this afternoon because I am practicing self-care and I need to check with my doctor. So, all right, let's go to psychological self-care. Here are some examples. Self-reflection time, just sitting and allowing yourself to reflect about your life. Therapy, psychotherapy is self-care. Sometimes psychotherapy doesn't involve severe mental illness, although sometimes it does. It's also an act of self-care. I'm taking this time to explore my inner thoughts, feelings, emotions, and I want to be the best version of myself, so I'm going to go to therapy. Journaling. You can do online journaling, you can write in a notebook, you could do an audio journal, writing down your thoughts, feelings, events, all of that. There's no rules for that. That's really good self-care. Reading literature, listening to books, that's good self-care. Here's one, do something different. Challenge yourself psychologically. You know, it's kind of scary for me to think of getting on a bus and traveling somewhere, but I really want to try that one day because I've never done it. Decrease the stress in your life. That's a big one. Here's another big one that's hard for people, especially people with vision loss. Practice receiving from others. Let people help you. Ask for help. That will help you, and it will help your emotional and psychological well-being also. Another one is be curious. Ask people. I was visiting with Darianne and Imagine from the Lighthouse before this presentation, and we talked about where we were all from, and that was so interesting. I found out that Darianne spent a lot of time in Hawaii, and I have a son that lived in Hawaii. So, you know, be curious. Ask people questions. Okay, back to my regular self-care talk here. Ooh, gratitude. Practicing gratitude. What am I grateful for? No matter what is going on in your life, there is something that you are grateful for. The main being is, I woke up today. I'm grateful that I woke up. Whatever your religious beliefs are, there's always gratitude. And gratitude, as opposed to negativity, increases your mood. You can change the way you feel by changing the way you think. Okay, relaxation, meditation, mindfulness, all of those exercises you can do any time of the day. You can do them for 30 seconds, a minute, 5 minutes, an hour, as much time as you have. Try to do one relaxing activity every day, whether it's practicing mindfulness, whether it's doing some kinds of guided meditation, relaxation exercises, or just spending 30 minutes unwinding. Getting away from your routine. We're very routine oriented, especially here in the United States. We get up, we have breakfast, we get in our cars, we go to work, we come home from work, we pet the dogs, we cook dinner, we relax. Whatever your daily routine is, we are very routine oriented. Sometimes practicing self-care means getting away from your routine. Go to the beach. Go walk on the sand for a while. I miss the beach. I miss living near the beach. I have to say that. Another thing is spending time with your loved ones. And part of the no activities, that means no, I'm not going to do this, is not spending time with people that bring negative energy into your life. And sometimes that's difficult because sometimes those are family members. But making sure that you spend time with your loved ones and people that make you feel good about yourself is important. Do at least one pleasurable activity every day, whether it's watching your favorite movie, going outside and putting your feet on the grass, walking through Target, driving to the beach, any kind of pleasurable activity. Do one pleasurable activity every day. For me, a pleasurable activity is cooking. One of the things that's been a blessing to be able to work remotely and not have to drive to work is I have probably 3 extra hours during the day. And I love to cook dinner at the end of the day. It is therapeutic, it's relaxing. I can stretch my brain in a different way, and it's very, very much an act of self-care for me. Here's a big one. Look for opportunities to laugh. How often do you laugh during a day? Have you ever practiced laughing? If you're in the chat right now, I want you to just stop what you're doing and just get a big belly laugh. Just laugh. Sounds silly, but it makes you feel better. It really does. Okay, here are some emotional self-care activities. We just said spend time with people that you enjoy. Give affirmations to yourself. I am a really smart person. That's not bragging. That's acknowledging something. I have a great sense of humor. That's acknowledging something positive about myself. We don't do that very well, do we? We're very quick to criticize ourselves, but do we tell ourselves the good things about ourselves? Not very much. Here's another one. Love yourself. Some of you have been through a lot of trauma. I understand that. Some of you have a lot of negative things that you're involved with, that you have people that are in your life that are not positive, but it's important to learn to love yourself as you are, just as you are. Allow yourself to cry. Is it okay to cry? Sure. Sometimes it's healing to cry. Again, I said this before, find things that make you laugh. And another thing that really helps your emotional well-being is playing with kids or playing with animals. Go throw a baseball with your nephew. Take your dog for a walk. Some of the consequences for not caring for ourselves when we don't take time to practice self-care, again, let me remind you, is not selfish. It's important for our well-being. It's important for our physical, our psychological, our emotional, and even our spiritual well-being to care for ourselves. So if you don't care for yourself, what are some of the consequences? Irritability, increased stress, whether it's real or perceived. You don't have any time for yourself, so you feel like pressure's everywhere. Impulsive decision making. Did you know that when you practice self-care, you become a better decision maker? You do. Here's a big one. Physical exhaustion. How many of you are just tired? Just tired. Physical exhaustion. If you take some time daily to practice self-care, which again, intentional acts of caring for your mental, emotional, and physical health, you will not feel as physically exhausted. Another one, weakened immune system. Everybody knows that stress weakens our immune system. Not caring for yourself weakens our immune system. We get sicker, we get colds, we get flu, we catch COVID, we get whatever, bronchitis. Burnout. I have to watch this in my life because seeing patients 5 to 6 hours a day, sitting at a computer screen, all the documentation I have to do, talking to people in the office, following up on phone calls, following up on emails, getting my end of the month documentation, all that stuff. If I don't practice self-care, I'm going to feel pretty burned out. Plus, my job is quite intense sometimes with the problems that people have. I have to practice self-care so that I can do my job better. You do your job better, whatever your job is, when you practice self-care. And the last two that I have written down for consequences of not practicing self-care are physical illness and mental illness. So again, you get physically exhausted, you can also get physically ill. And let me remind you, if you have any questions, put them in the private chat. Darianne and Amajane are working behind the scenes. I don't know where they are, but they're doing something to help me. So if you have a question, they'll let me know. Okay, we've talked about physical self-care, psychological self-care, emotional self-care, and finally we're going to talk about spiritual self-care. We are spiritual beings, like it or not. This doesn't have anything to do with religion. We are spiritual beings. We are not simply physical beings put on this earth. So in order to take care of our spiritual selves, we have to have time to reflect. We have to have time to think. What if? What about? Why not? Let me think about. Slowing down. Slowing down. Taking care of our spiritual selves also means time in nature. I've talked about how important it is to go outside. I'm not kidding. Take your shoes off. Be barefoot in the grass. Connect with the earth. Connect with nature. Feel the breeze. Feel the sun on you. Take time in nature. Find some kind of spiritual connection, whether it's with God. My connection is with God. Whether it is with some other connection that helps you spiritually. That's important. Here's one that's hard for a lot of people. Be open to not knowing. I don't know what other kind of spiritual connections are out there, but I'd like to learn. I'd like to hear. What are your spiritual connections? I don't have to know everything. Sometimes that's hard for people. We don't like to say we don't know. But sometimes I don't know is the first step that we take in knowing and learning. Pray. Whatever God you choose to pray to, pray. Connect with a higher spiritual power. Okay, here's one y'all are going to laugh. Sing. Sing. Yeah, I mean it. Sing. Sing to the radio, just sing. Sing songs. This is a hard one sometimes because we get so wrapped up in our day-to-day existence that we don't have experiences that leave us in awe. I talked to a young man this morning that had, for the first time, as a blind person, had run in a 5K race. I was in awe. I thought, I can't imagine what that would be like to run in a 5K race without using a sighted guide, but not having sight myself. And sometimes sitting outside, I just feel in awe of the creation that we are given every day. There's beauty all around us. Sometimes it helps our spiritual well-being to read or listen to inspirational literature, motivational literature, the Bible, whatever literature helps you spiritually, that's important for you to do. So I am just about at the end of my presentation. I want to thank you all for coming. I want to encourage you to reach out if you have questions. We have a support group every Friday morning at the Lighthouse of Houston. You can find out more about our support group on our website. We also do private individual therapy. Again, check our website out. You can send me an email, mbenjamea@houstonlighthouse.org. Anything that we can do to connect you with self-care and improving your emotional, physical, psychological, and spiritual health, we would be more than happy to do it. And I know we are about 5 minutes early, so I'll leave a few minutes if anybody has any questions. I'll be here to answer questions.
Hello, everybody. We are back. We actually got a couple comments, so we'll go over those real quick. This person says that's why they love to go window shopping. This person's blind and is a new amputee of the right leg, but is learning to love themselves, which is awesome.
Shopping. I love that. Window shopping. That's great. That's wonderful. And
yeah, we were kind of asking some of the banners. We were asking, like, what is everyone's favorite fun activity that they like to do, or what is their favorite feel-good activity that they like to do?
Yeah. Patty, great comment. Window shopping.
Yeah, that's a really fun one. And then we got another comment. So this person says they tried to use their creativity. Is it also good to use your creativity with some art?
Oh, yes. I didn't mention art because I'm not very artistic, but yes, absolutely. That's practicing self-care would mean use your creativity, use the gifts you've been given. That's awesome. Again, self-care is not selfish. That's awesome.
Yeah, and I loved when you were talking about just going outside in nature and finding a physical activity. I was going to say I love swimming, but when I'm not swimming, haven't done that very often recently. But I also just love to go on a nice afternoon walk and just to look at the nature and around the neighborhood and things like that. But yeah, does anybody else have any questions or comments? We'll probably go ahead and wrap up pretty soon. But as Melinda was saying, if you want some more information about our support groups or just about our different programs and services, please visit our website. It is www.houstonlighthouse.org. We're trying to update that a lot more, and you should be able to find all of our different programs and activities as well as all of our support group information. So it's going to be a really great resource if you have any questions. And then one more time, I'll pop up Melinda's email if you do have any specific questions for Melinda. And we'll just ask one final time, if anybody, what does self-care mean to you? And has your idea of self-care changed since watching this presentation? And then Melinda, any final thoughts or last words of wisdom you'd like to leave us with?
Well, I think it's so important that people learn to care for themselves. Our society doesn't teach us to do this. It's something, in fact, we're taught kind of to go so fast and keep trucking and moving forward. And no, don't care for yourself, but it's really, really important. I've enjoyed talking to you all. And if anybody does have any questions or further comments, send me an email. I'd love to hear. So I hope everybody has a great rest of your Friday and a great weekend.
Yeah. Thank you all so much for joining us. And yeah, if you have any questions or want to learn more about our support groups, give us a call, send us an email, or visit our website. And we hope everyone has a wonderful rest of their Friday and a great weekend. Thank you all so much for joining us.
Bye, everybody.